Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Beat the Press podcast. Thank you so much for clicking on another one of my videos. I know it's been a while. It's been a month since I last uploaded. The last video being the why I think Jerry Rice is the GOAT. I was very proud of that video. Very nice thumbnail as well. Shout out to my boy Rome, who'll probably be making this thumbnail as well. So today, you read the title. We're going to go over what these NBA teams got to do after being eliminated from the playoffs. Kind of an interesting topic, something that I thought of because, what can these teams do to get better, to not get eliminated in the first round, in the second round? And I have them in order from the teams that got eliminated. I don't have any more announcements. Oh, I guess, I wrote an article, my first article, folks, on www.couchreportsports.com. Yes, Couch Report from Instagram. I wrote my article on 8 destinations that Kawhi Leonard could go to. Pretty good article. I think I wrote very well. Stay tuned. I will be writing a lot more articles on there as well. TikTok, obviously, at Beat the Press, I think. I post a lot on there. That's really it. Wow. Let's dive right in, folks. Starting things off with the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat got swept in the first round by the Milwaukee Bucks. They've got a lot of free agents. And so I think they got to re-sign Goran Dragic because he's a really good ball handler. I believe, was he an all-star? I don't think, but yeah, he was pretty good this year, especially last year in the playoffs. Duncan Robinson is an interesting one. Listen, I think that the Heat should trade Tyler Hero. You got to keep one shooter around, and Duncan Robinson definitely could be that guy. Tyler Hero had kind of a letdown year. A lot of people had some high hopes for him. Heat was stingy with him. They probably could have got James Harden. Supposedly could have got James Harden, but they didn't want to give up Tyler Hero. Might want to look into Trevor Ariza just for some depth. And Kendrick Nunn, I think sign and trade with him. You might want to package Oladipo as well in that because you're not gonna be able to keep Oladipo if you want to succeed now. I think you could package Oladipo, you could package up Nunn, package up Tyler Hero and some picks possibly, ship them off, target an all-star. Wink, wink, Kawhi Leonard. In the free agency, target Kyle Lowry. I think Kyle Lowry would be a great fit, especially if you can't keep Dragic. Kyle Lowry. A lot of Heat fans, I'm seeing a lot of Heat fans want Kyle Lowry. A lot of teams, obviously, because he's such a great leader. He's been in the game for so long. And, might want to look into JaVale McGee because, again, depth. You want a big down in the paint. Bam can't play all 48 minutes. And then if Nicholas Batum doesn't re-sign with the Clippers, you might want to look into him. Can spread that floor very well. Kelly Oubre brings some great defense. Very inconsistent shooter, but if he's wide open in the corner, I would give him a chance. I wouldn't be mad if he takes that shot in the corner. And then John Collins. John Collins is going to ask for a very big contract. And I don't know if Atlanta has the 6th most cap space, but if they don't want to spend all that on John Collins, if Miami want to come in, offer John Collins something, and he wants to take that, why not? My other note I have, make a splash. I said this kind of earlier. Packaging in Nunn, Oladipo. Make a splash. Look into the disgruntled stars. Kawhi Leonard. Bradley Beal. I really like Bradley Beal to Miami. Damian Lillard, I could see it happening. I'm not too sure if I love it, though. But either one of those 3 would be phenomenal. Hey, Miami, stay calm. Don't trip. I feel like they're still contenders. You still got Jimmy Butler. You still got Bam. Just some flaws to iron out. And I think getting a superstar, Kawhi, Beal, Lillard, or even somebody in free agency, you'll be just all right. You'll be just fine. Coming up next, the Boston Celtics try to re-sign Evan Fournier and Taco Fall. Taco Fall, who really cared? Like that was more just because it's Taco Fall. Evan Fournier, he had a pretty good season, actually. Very underrated season. A lot of Celtics fans really like the signing or trade whenever they acquired him. And, it ended up being really good. Boston, do not split up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You've got two young stars who are rising to be top 10 players in the league. Not very many players, not very many teams can achieve that. That is a very, very rare achievement. Two young stars you drafted rising up to the top. Jayson Tatum looks like he could be a possible top 5 player in the league, MVP candidate, and I think Jaylen Brown is just right there as well. I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan. Good job trading Kemba Walker. I think that was very smart. I love Kemba, but I just don't think he really fit in Boston. I don't know. I feel like he just kind of messed up their offense. Keep the ball in Tatum's hand, keep the ball in Brown's hand. Kemba kind of ruins that whole thing. I would say about Al Horford, though, either buy him out or try to trade him. Do whatever you can with him. Yes, the Celtics needed a big. I don't think Al Horford is the big that they need, though. You may want to target some guys like Harrison Barnes for cheap. You got to go for players that won't take too much money. I really feel like the Celtics are just one piece away from really being title contenders, whether that is being another all-star, whether that's more depth, or Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown taking that next step. They got their new head coach, and I'm going to butcher this name, Ime Udoka. I think he'll be good for Boston. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I like Boston. I do. I like their Brown and Tatum. And listen, if you're going to trade Brown, obviously I'm way against it, but go for Kawhi Leonard. You're gonna go for a proven star. Otherwise, I mean, I still don't think so, but I'm seeing a lot of people talking about Celtics and Kawhi and this and that. Don't want to see Brown leave. The Washington Wizards. Listen, let's be real, buddy. They're not close to contending. Okay, with all due respect, they're not close to contending. So, I think you milk the value for Bradley Beal and Westbrook. You get as much as you can right now before Westbrook gets injured or something, Bradley Beal possibly regresses. I mean, you don't really know the future. Get some first-round picks. Possibly, honestly, trade Beal for a young star. That could be nice right there. Yeah, why not? And then Westbrook, you could probably still get a first-round pick for Westbrook. A lot of guys are going to want Westbrook. Westbrook is not a bad player. A lot of people love saying Westbrook is bad. He's a guy who will bring energy to a team. A lot of people are saying, oh, Westbrook can't contend. You can't have Westbrook on a team and win. That's a topic for another story. We won't get into that right now. Wizards, y'all got to start the rebuild officially. You should not be in the playoffs. Straight up. You should not have been in the playoffs. Scrap the whole thing. You got Thomas Bryant, who's a nice young centerpiece, I think. Just scrap it. Go to the bottom again. Start from the top. The New York Knicks. Ooh, I love the Knicks. I like the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I like seeing these bad teams in the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't do anything in the playoffs. Very unfortunate. Julius Randle just completely choked it. I'm saying to re-sign Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose had a tremendous playoff performances. It looked like he was the only one actually doing something, who actually cared about the playoffs. Nerlens Noel, Alec Burke, extend Robinson, and then see what's up with Reggie Bullock. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say completely keep the gang together, but definitely mess around with there. Decide what to do with Julius Randle. Obviously, he was playing at an MVP level, and people were saying, oh, this man's going to get a max contract. But after the playoffs, that is all out the window. There's no way Julius Randle is going to get a contract from the New York Knicks. So, you can extend him, definitely. I would still keep him around, sign him to a 4-5-year deal. Or, some people are saying, trade him. Trade Julius Randle. Milk that value again. If Knicks don't feel like they're in a time to succeed right now, then, yeah, milk the Julius Randle value. Although I do think that they can win right now, especially if they target my man, Lonzo Ball. A lot of Lonzo to Knicks talk, and I think that it just fits perfectly. The Knicks will get that ball handling playmaker that they need. Kelly Oubre is another guy who Knicks could target. Yeah, again, I talked about Oubre. I don't want to say 3 and D. He's more of like a D player, but I mean he'll shoot the three ball. If he gets his confidence, he'll get rolling. Kendrick Nunn, another guy to target. Not this year. I don't think this year, but in 2 to 4 years, I think the Knicks can be a top 3 seed in the East, depending on how they play their cards. I think Tom Thibodeau is a good coach, bringing a great energy to New York. Yeah. Obviously, it's being reported the Knicks are going to go after every star, every high value free agent trades, anything. They're gonna go after every star, and I love to see that. Colin Sexton is a guy whose name I'm seeing a lot. Terry Rozier. If you don't get Terry Rozier, I'm sorry, but throw the whole franchise away. That's gonna be so sad. They're in the. I got my brother here, so I'm kind of also talking to him. Though they got Kawhi Leonard on the blog, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, and out of all those guys, you get Terry Rozier. Come on now, let's go New York. I'm a Warriors fan, but hey, I like to see New York win. The Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies. I think they have a good team. Okay, they have a team. They just gotta play good. They just gotta develop. Possibly sign or trade for a borderline superstar like Oladipo, Dennis Schroeder, possibly. The Grizzlies, they're a hard team to evaluate because they're not quite contenders yet. They got the guys Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, but they're not bad enough for a rebuild. You feel me? They're in that weird center stage where it's like, do we want to throw everything away right now? Or, try and contend. Honestly, I just don't feel like Memphis is a really eye-popping place for stars. It's not a big market. But I could see possibly some guys that want to play with Ja Morant. They want to play with Jaren Jackson. They got all these young guys that could be building something special in Memphis. The Portland Trailblazers re-signed Norman Powell. He had a good season. They got him from Toronto. He was good in Toronto, too. A lot of Toronto fans were upset about that. Derrick Jones Jr., Enes Kanter, and Carmelo. Carmelo, no reason why he shouldn't have not been signed for 1-2 years that he was a free agent. No reason. He's showing why he still could play. Target Nerlens Noel, Kent Bazemore, Dwight Howard, or JaVale McGee. Blazers, y'all need defense. However, with Damian Lillard looking like he could be on his way out the door, especially with the head coaching hire, who they signed? They got Chauncey Billups, right? Yeah, they got Chauncey Billups. Dame did not want Chauncey Billups. So it's looking like Dame could be out the door. Blazers, if Dame stays, you got to get defense. You need some defense. Yeah, that's it. Close to contending, definitely. Dame and McCollum. Them two have been the baby Splash Brothers. Not even really though. They've been wannabe Splash Brothers. With all due respect, defense needs a lot of help, and do not trade Dame unless if he forces one. Again, if you can keep Dame, keep him. Don't trade him just to trade him. Trade him if he really wants to be traded. He's your franchise's best player. Okay, you don't want to give him up for just nothing. So I think Blazers will be okay if they trade Dame. They'll be set for the future, unless if they get a future. Rising star. A lot of Zion Williamson talk. We won't get into that. We won't get into Zion Williamson yet. The Los Angeles Lakers, folks. They lost in the first round due to Anthony Davis, LeBron, injuries going on. Man, they have got terrible cap space issues. For only having 2 real All-Stars, they've got terrible cap space issues. So you've got to sort that out. Target a reliable third guy. Listen, I know I'm talking about their cap space issues. In the NBA, it does not matter. Teams always find a way to fix the cap space. As a third reliable guy, I've seen a lot of Kemba, Lowry. Devontae Graham was an interesting one that I saw some Lakers fans kind of want. And Melo. I think Melo could be interested in taking a smaller contract to play with his buddy Bron, playing with a contender, playing on a high market. And he will obviously be reliable. He'll hit the mid-range. He can create his own shot. Yeah. I do like Melo to the Lakers. Kemba, again, these guys, they're going to want a lot of money, and that's going to be a problem. They've got a lot of free agents to re-sign. KCP is a really good shooter from the corner. Alex Caruso, you got to keep Caruso around. Talen Horton-Tucker, I don't want to say he's a rising star just yet, but he's shown flashes of potential. Andre Drummond, only for the minimum. only for the minimum. Somebody in the IG comments was like, "Oh, you're gonna sign for minimum," and Drummond was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not." Drummond, I think the man thinks he's gonna get a max contract. Gotta sign Jared Dudley because he's the GOAT. Champ. My apologies, not Jared Dudley. Champ. Wesley Matthews, I put a question mark here. He's kind of old. He really wasn't as good as a lot of people thought he would be. But hey, he offers some good defense. I would let Montrez and Schroeder walk. Schroeder will be in Shanghai. Montrez, I think, can find a spot on a roster. The Lakers just simply didn't play him, which I thought was idiotic. Honestly, I could see Harrell going back to the Clippers for real. It just depends how much money he's asking for, really. Target guys like Larry, Iguodala, Oubre. You got to get some reliable shooters. Really, the Lakers, they need a lot of things. They need defense, and they need shooters. Hey, conveniently, that's Danny Green's play style of 3-and-D, but guess what? They let him walk. Got to target some reliable shooters like Redick and Olynyk. And, hey, you got LeBron and Anthony Davis. If you got LeBron, you're going to be contenders automatically. Health is key. Let's see how many teams. We got a couple more teams left, folks. The Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs are an interesting team because obviously they have that young man, Luka Doncic. You know what you got to do? You've got to sign guys that are going to help Luka win. You can't sign guys that are going to help Luka win. You can't sign guys that are going to sit the bench. So re-sign Tim Hardaway Jr. He had a really good playoff. He really showed up. Keep Boban as well because, again, playoffs. Boban looked really good, especially against the Clippers. They had no big. Boban got minutes. And so that was nice to see. Trade Kristaps Porzingis. He seems to be holding. I don't want to say he's holding Luka back. Luka is holding Porzingis back. This is another case scenario that I wrote about in the article. Because there's obviously the Mavs. They said that they're going to pursue Kawhi Leonard. Can Luka play with another star? Listen, I know it might sound blasphemous, but listen. We saw what happened with Porzingis. Luka ball hogged with Porzingis. Porzingis needed the ball in his hand. You look at him in New York, he had the ball in his hand. I guess they tried to make him like a spot-up shooter somewhat, and that was not what KP was. And so I think KP can thrive on another team like the Clippers. So, hey, if they do want to go and get Kawhi, maybe Luka will be opening to passing that ball more. But, yeah, I definitely think Porzingis has to be out of Dallas, though, for his own sake. Porzingis should want to get out of Dallas, unless if Dallas will implement more into the game plan. You could trade him for, I put Kemba, John Collins, even possibly Ben Simmons. I think Simmons could be an interesting one. I think Simmons could be interesting in Dallas. Yeah, you got the defense. He won't be able to shoot, but you got Luka. Tim Hardaway will be able to shoot. You got a menace, basically, that is going to drive to the rim. I think Ben Simmons could be interesting. Trade for star before extending Luka. Get Luka help. This is like my last notes. Target DeRozan if you can't keep Tim Hardaway Jr. I want to target Evan Fournier, Spencer Dinwiddie, Olynyk. Jarrett Allen would be really good. He improved the bench and the defense. I like Jarrett Allen. A lot of people people are like, oh, why would you pay a old school center? But hey, I love the old school center. Stay in the paint, get the rebounds, block shots. Basically, Mavericks in a nutshell. Get some depth, get some shooters, get some defenders. Help Luka. Because I don't want to say his defense is a liability, but yeah, teams target Luka on defense. So, yeah, you got to get some more defenders to help Luka out. The Denver Nuggets. I like Denver. I do. I like Denver. Re-sign Barton and possibly Paul Millsap for cheap. Target Tim Hardaway if he doesn't re-sign in Dallas. Yeah, I feel like Denver in a good spot right now. Jamal Murray was injured, and I think that's what held them back from making a deep playoff run. You've got the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, possibly looking to Kawhi. I really do like Kawhi to Denver. Jokic being the playmaker, he's going to get Kawhi the open shots. Jamal Murray, he's going to do Jamal Murray things. I like the Nuggets. I do. Yeah, I think that they're in one piece away from contending again. The Utah Jazz possibly re-sign Mike Conley. If not, it's not the end of the world, but I think Mike Conley will bring some nice veteran presence. Target minimum contract veteran players due to cap space issues. A lot of these teams you're going to see have a lot of bad cap space issues, but I don't think that's going to matter. Keep Rudy Gobert. People are talking about trading Rudy Gobert just because of how bad he was in the playoffs and being completely exposed against the Clippers. Not coming out. When he did come out, it was terrible. So I would keep Gobert unless if Donovan Mitchell doesn't want him. If Mitchell wants to be the face of Utah and wants Gobert out of here, okay, then yeah, trade Gobert. I'm sure you can get some value. I'm sure you can get a borderline all-star for the reigning defensive player of the year. Utah, I feel like they're in a weird position. Yeah, they were the 1 seed, but I don't think that they were the best team in the West. They're in a weird position. They're close to competing, but they seem far away. I feel like they're stuck. You know what I'm saying? They're in a weird position of not good enough to compete with teams like the Lakers and the Clippers and such, but they're not bad enough to completely restart. Kind of like what I was talking about with Memphis, except they don't have young guys that Memphis does. No cap space for Utah, and everyone is 28 plus. Like I said, Memphis has the young guys. Utah does not. The youngest guy is Donovan Mitchell. Everybody else is 28 or older. So, you know, with that being said, you might want to get rid of him and build around Donovan, or trade Donovan, get some first round picks. You get a future rising star. You know what I'm saying? Utah, I don't love the position that Utah's in. They're tough. They're tough to say what they could do. The Brooklyn Nets. That's right, folks. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving losing 7 to the Milwaukee Bucks. I guess you could say it was just Kevin Durant and James Harden, but hey, I really don't care. Karma hurts, eh? Karma hurts. But I gave a full evaluation. I didn't go cheap with them. I didn't tell them just to blow it up. Re-signed Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, I really like. He's probably one of my favorite Brooklyn players, or Nicholas Claxton, and Blake Griffin, who hadn't dunked in since 2018. Was phenomenal with Brooklyn. He played with some grit to him, and I really like that. You gotta target minimum players and depth. Listen, I won't be surprised if they get another all-star, honestly. I won't be surprised if they go out and get Kevin Love or somebody of that nature. You've got 3 all-stars. They got no excuse. They got no excuse to lose. They honestly shouldn't be in this video, so we're gonna move right along. The Philadelphia 76ers re-signed Danny Green for cheap, a really good 3-and-D player, and Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard brings some good defense. Target shooters, okay. And if Simmons leaves, you got to target some playmakers, some pass-first point guards. It's the Kyle Lowrys, the Kemba Walkers of the world. I would say, yeah, trade Simmons for what you can. They declined a offer from the Pacers, which was a first-round pick and Malcolm Brogdon. A lot of people were like, why would Philadelphia decline that? I think Philadelphia is smart for declining that. I think you can get a guy like Bradley Beal or Colin Sexton for Simmons. And if they do, hey, that's going to be phenomenal. I really do like Bradley Beal to Philadelphia. I also like Damian Lillard to Philadelphia. I'm not too sure if Portland will be open to that. But again, I think Portland should be inclined to blowing it up. But yeah, Bradley Beal I like. Sexton I like. Sexton would be really nice. They've got a nice young core with Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, and obviously Joel Embiid. They're contenders. They're definitely contenders, especially after a Simmons trade. I think that a Simmons trade is not going to make Philadelphia worse. If they don't trade him, of course, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's as big of a thing to trade Ben Simmons as people are making it out to be, but it is something to consider. 2 more teams, folks. 2 more teams. Here we go. The LA Clippers, Los Angeles Clippers retain Kawhi at all costs. Now, listen, I think that it is a big chance that Kawhi Leonard does re-sign with the Clippers. He'll probably decline his player option just to be financially smart. Yeah, keep him. Don't let him just walk. You know what I'm saying? Re-sign Nicholas Batum. He was a really good shooter in the playoffs. Reggie Jackson. I said Reggie Jackson if possible for cheap. Reggie Jackson had a very good playoffs, especially the Western Conference Finals, Reggie Jackson. With Kawhi out, it seemed like everybody stepped up. And so that's a good sign for the Clippers. Possibly re-sign Serge, just target minimum vets. You've got bad cap space issues, but they're still contenders. If Kawhi leaves, blow it up. And here's the thing. Unless if you get a sign and trade with Kawhi and you can get a star, it's not going to work. Paul George is not going to carry that. A pairing of Paul George and Reggie Jackson, that's not going to take you to the title. So trade Paul George, get some future and draft compensations. If you can get a sign and trade with Kawhi, you get another superstar, you bring a Porzingis or something, then maybe consider trying to contend. But you don't get a sign and trade off, Kawhi just walks away. Paul George is not carrying that team to the title. So definitely trade Paul George, get a future star, get some draft picks, bada bing, bada boom. And the last team that we have on here, the Atlanta Hawks. Run it back. Run it back, man. You overachieved. You made it this far. So why not run it back with that same team? Attempt at all the all-star free agents, all-star trade guys like I've mentioned in this entire video. Colin Sexton. I don't think Sexton will actually work in Atlanta. Kawhi, Beal, Lillard, any guy. Even Simmons, honestly. If John Collins leaves, then Simmons could be a very good pickup for Atlanta. You got to go with all of them. And they, honestly, a lot of stars might be intrigued to join Atlanta, especially after this playoff run. So, yeah, I like Atlanta. They've got a young team with a bright future. You might want to sign some good veterans. They're 6th in cap space, so they're fine. They can sign a lot of guys. And then extend Trae Young, because obviously Trae Young is the future of Atlanta. I will be the first to admit, I did not like Trae Young. I thought his game style was stupid. I thought he drew too many fouls, especially seeing the clips like when he would pass the defender and they'll be behind him and he just runs into him. I thought that was just stupid. But especially after his New York series, when he kind of embraced the villain role, I definitely grew to be a fan, and I'm excited for Atlanta's future. And that's going to wrap it up, folks. We have the Phoenix-Milwaukee finals. I'm very excited for it. I know my brother is as well. You got a young star in Devin Booker, plus a veteran in Chris Paul, going up against Giannis, who is, two-time MVP, and Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, who's really performed. It's going to be an exciting series to watch. I'm stoked. I don't want to say I've been a Phoenix fan. I haven't been a Phoenix fan since a baby. But me and my boy, Kevin King, if you're watching this, shout out. We've always rooted for Phoenix, just kind of as a secondary team, just because of their colors. Purple and orange was always interesting as an elementary school, middle school. And Milwaukee, I've been a big Giannis fan ever since he started becoming good. And how can you really hate the man? Giannis is such a great guy. You can't really hate him. Whoever wins, I'll be happy for. I'll be rooting for Phoenix to win because I want to see Devin Booker and Chris Paul win, especially Chris Paul. But I do think Milwaukee wins in 6 or 7 games, especially if Giannis is healthy. There's my little finals prediction for y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Beat the Press podcast. I love you so much. Peace out.